Whew, I've just had an incredible conversation with Sangeeta about her business that she started from nothing. She just started in a women's refuge with £25 a week, and she's gone all the way through now to running her business and helping other women, empowering them to become financially independent. It is an incredible story. I highly recommend you listen to this one. So let's dive in. Right, here we are with Sangeeta Sengupta. And we are going to be chatting about her story today. I'm super excited to get into this story. It's so inspiring. Sangeeta's story is a testament to women's empowerment and is one that we're honored to highlight on our platform. Her story brings up issues that are difficult to talk about, but crucial to acknowledge, not only to celebrate how far Sangeeta's come, but to show how other women that change is possible. And you always have the power to claim your life back. Sangeeta is a domestic violence survivor who 26 years ago was seeking refuge in a women's shelter and living on just £25 a week. This puts into perspective the importance of financial self-reliance for women, which is not something that everyone has easy access to. In founding TiffinWalli CIC, Sangeeta has provided opportunities for women to transform their domestic skills, such as cooking, into stable employment that contributes to the local economy. Today, we are eager to learn more about how she helps women overcome social barriers to enter the mainstream market, continually supporting the community and achieving collective impact. Wow, welcome, Sangeeta. So you have an incredible story. Um, Please feel free to speak freely of anything that you've gone through. We will put a trigger warning on this podcast, so people will know that you might get into some hairy stuff. But we want to hear it because I think it's important that your story is known and other women, can identify, and then how you turned it all into a success. So welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for inviting me, Angela. And definitely, when you are reading all these things, so it's. I feel like it's such a distance.
Yes.
It's been so long time ago, and I come so far away from
Yeah.
it now. But I do believe it's important to share the stories to
Yes.
inspire other women who are in the similar situations. I never used to talk about it.
Mm.
It's not intentionally because we are so busy in moving on, looking forward.
Yes.
So never had that opportunity to look back and see how far you have
Yeah.
come. But I think when I am doing this business and I see similar women are in that positions, so it's become important for me to talk, to give them that practical experience. It's not talk the talk,
Yes.
but I am from that
Yes.
circumstance. If
Yes.
I can
Yes.
do it, I think you can do it as well. So I
Yes.
started talking to these women, giving them the practical experience of what you can do, not just with the knowledge that you can do certain things. So thanks for the invitations, and this will be another platform to encourage those
Yes.
women who are in that circumstances.
Yes.
And I trust everyone can come out from that or change their circumstance if they're really willing to.
Yes. So tell us your story. Let's
Mhm.
start with the circumstance that you are mentioning, and then we'll take a look at how you got out of it.
Right. So I got married to a British citizen. So I came to this country, and then it was not a typical arranged marriage, but it was arranged marriage in that sense. So where you don't know what exactly the person is doing or their behavior.
Mm-mm.
So just after the marriage, I had problem, but the friends and family circles they says that okay, if you go to UK when you live together, then probably there will be less problem. So even I didn't want it to come into this country. As soon as I find the person is not as expected, and he was really violent, and
Did you meet before you married or not?
we had meeting twice or thrice, and it was a span of 3 months.
Okay.
So by the time we first met and by the time the marriage took place, so it was a 3 months period.
And in your culture, are you allowed to say no? Are you allowed to
Oh,
refuse
yeah, yeah.
somebody in an arranged marriage?
Yeah,
But so you didn't feel any warning signs. You didn't see any reason not to.
yeah. I did see few,
Mm.
but then you do things that, okay, these are not the big issue.
Yeah.
You know, a person might be, because we were told that there is a good things that the bad things on a person,
Mm.
so you have to focus on the good side of a person,
Yes.
so you cannot get a dream man of your life. So that's the culture I brought up into, that and I was so happy to lucky girl type of things. I never
Yeah.
thought that I can meet anyone of my similar age who
Yes.
can be so abusive, because you
Wow.
do meet your friends, male friends. I had plenty of male friends,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't see all these things within a male friend, so you expect that other male
Be the same.
will be the same,
Yeah.
but people are different. So yeah, so then I came into this country, and then I had my first child, and but the marriage lasted only 3 years. I kind of suffered 3 years continuously. It was the first of physical, then the mental abuse, and I had reported quite frequently to police as well.
Mm.
And at the end, when I saw my son could see all these things, and I have
Yes.
to take steps for, even if it's not myself, because I still felt the divorce and those things are taboo.
Yeah.
And I will come into the financial side as well later on, because I didn't had any control of uh, money, even though I was working.
Really?
Yeah,
So your
so
salary went to him?
it was going to his bank account. Um, but the manager, one of the managers said that we cannot send your salary to your husband account. You should have your own account, your name, because we need to see the money is going to the person who is working with us.
Now, that's not a cultural thing, is it? Because he was British, wasn't he?
He was British as a citizen, but he was brought up in India.
Okay, so he still had the Indian culture. So he was still practicing what was a typical Indian culture.
Yes, yes.
So is that typical in Indian culture that the woman's money will go to the man, or is that just him controlling you?
It was him, not all the time. In India, you usually have a joint account,
Mm,
husband, wife.
mm.
And we never used to have a card. So bank card to withdraw your money and things. That came quite later
Mm. So just a
in India.
checkbook.
It was checkbook, saving account, this. So when I was young, I was working very young, age of 17, which was not during my time. No one used to work at the age of 17.
Yeah,
You
why did you
have to
work so
work.
young?
I was so passionate to become
Did you
journalist.
choose to work
Yeah,
so
I
young?
choose.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted to become a journalist, and I was so passionate about it that I kind of asked someone to give me a trainee position. So I started working. So after college, I used to go to the press to work. But I never had my account again at that time, because I was underage. I had to had a joint account,
Okay.
and I had it with my brother who was older than me. So it was quite a common culture to have a joint account or something for a woman to
Really?
have. Yeah.
Okay.
So that could be the. It's not about dominating someone, but in case of emergency or anything, that the money can be used. So that's probably the reason for the security. And so when I came, I was never bothered about the money, where the money is going, etc. But
Mm.
again, you were put it in that situation that you being told that your money is investing in the family. So he's the main breadwinner, and
Mm.
you are supporting it. So money will be in this one pot, and
Mm.
those money is using in to look after the family. So it wasn't. I never felt that it was control.
Yes, it was your normal.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that okay. And you can't say when it was saying about, even if you're financially independent prior to your marriage, you think, okay, it's a family unit, so I
Yes.
should be giving. But I didn't had any single penny in my hand, even traveling it was 50p for the bus expenses, so I never had that 50p even
Wow.
to travel my own. So always I have to travel with him. So that again, you keep on trying to save your marriage, and you avoid argument, you avoid everything. And then I was pregnant, so it was all emotional turmoil going through it. But later on, after 3 years, or even after 2 years, I decided not to live with him. So when we went for holiday back home, I didn't want to come back to UK. But again, their family kind of forced me to come. They said, okay,
Did the
everything will be
family,
fine.
did your family know that you were being abused?
Yeah, yeah.
And they
I mean,
still,
their family was more insisted me than my family.
okay.
That
Is that a bit of a taboo thing as well in India? You know, if you're in a bad marriage, you suck it up and you just get on with it
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
yeah,
So everyone was saying the same thing. You have to look at the good side. He loves you very much, so you have got a child now. So think about thing will improve. Think will improve
yeah,
because your focus will go on child and things. And I do till today I do hear this type of comments, and I really get angry that why women says to another women that if you have a
yeah,
baby things will improve. A child cannot bring improvement in a
no,
couple
no,
relationship. So then I came back, and then I decided that I'm not going to contact anyone because the relationship was still bad. No point of asking anyone any support. So I asked the support from the local authority. I didn't get support from the local authority because I wasn't British citizen at that time.
really.
I
So
didn't
even
had
though you were in an abusive relationship, they wouldn't help you because you weren't a citizen.
because it's all about the funding.
Oh,
So local authority
they would.
funding
They
as
didn't even like want to protect you. Not without funding. They just
mm,
knew that you were in a bad
yeah,
situation
yeah,
and sent you back.
yeah. At
Oh,
that time
I'm
it was
so
like
sorry.
that,
That's horrible.
and they said you are not funded by any stream, so we wouldn't be able to keep it to send you in the refuge and things. So I decided one day that I had to go back to India, but I didn't have the money. So I withdraw my applications from Home Office that to access my passport, and went to Indian High Commission to send me back home.
Mm.
And then they said, why you have to go back? It's the local authorities' responsibilities to protect you and your child.
Mm.
Then they called the local authorities, and then they took the initiative on that day. So whole
Really?
day I was out with the local authority, and within 1 hour they took me out. So I didn't had access to any of my things. So in with one clothes I took my son out, and then I was put it in refuge,
Wow.
where I stayed 1.5 years there. And then I realized that how important to be financially independent.
Yeah.
I was the only one who was kind of who started working in the women refuge, because I didn't want it to depend on the benefit. Neither I had that money. So child benefit at that time was £11, and there is something called Section 17 money, which again is given by for my son,
Mm.
which is approximately 11 or 12 pound. So total was approximately 24 to 25 pound.
What year was
So
that?
it was 1998, 99.
Mm.
And
So there's still very little.
yeah, very little, when the other people in that house refuge was having £150 per week,
Why were they getting more?
because they were entitled to state benefit. So they were
Okay.
getting benefit where I was not entitled to have any benefit, so
Yeah.
I wasn't. But they
Mm.
were looking after the child, and so basically, was my child was getting the money, and we both were surviving with that
Mm.
money.
So what do all the women do if they're not working? What do
They
they
don't
do with
do
their
anything,
time? Nothing.
nothing, and that is the very distressing environment you get, because you come from a disturbed family.
Yeah.
Your child are coming from that disturbed family. You are all in one place with lot of disturbed
Yeah, yeah. So it's
people.
not a very healthy
It's
environment.
very hostile
Do they
environment.
provide counseling?
Yeah,
They do.
yeah, yeah. Not regular basic. They will be sending you to referral to the different places. So I was sent at that time the mind the organization called Mind
Oh,
was
yes, I know mine.
started growing. So I
Yeah.
went to Mind, but there were not many trained staff members, so you don't get much support. But at least you can go and talk to somewhere you can take your things out.
Yeah. And do the ladies get on well? Do you like support each other, or is it more aggressive like you?
It depends again how. If they need support, because I was kind of leader over there, because they need my support.
Mm.
Whereas I never needed any support. I knew that nobody can support me emotionally,
Mm.
financially, or anything. But I had to take them to the GPs, registered GP, because some of the women were not literate. They couldn't speak
Wow.
English. So my time used to go to
To
helping
helping
others.
them. Wow.
And
Yeah.
and then I started working. I didn't have that time to spend with them. So I was the first woman who was started working in the refuge. So they didn't know how to deal with it, because whether I have to pay the charges for the refuge, staying
So
in the
no one
refuge.
else had ever worked.
No.
So they didn't even have a protocol for that. Did the women have a desire to work? Did they want more for their life? Or did
The
they all...
women I met, no.
Wow.
Because again, most of them were, even the people who born and brought up over there, they didn't have the desire, and they all came with the little children.
Mm. So
So
why are you different? How come out of all those women,
ah,
you rose and everybody else just stayed? Like, so if we can uncover that, we can help other women to, choose to be more like you and not just give up.
so it's again how you brought up. I
Okay.
brought up in a family where working and doing something was highly appreciated.
Mm.
Even my mom was housewife at the time when we were growing up, but she kind of really appreciated. Even I started working age of 17 so early, she was quite happy with that. So it's the environment you brought up. And but during my time, most of the women were doing the master degree to get a better husband. So
What?
rather than
Getting a
being,
degree to get a
yeah,
husband. So
because
they were ambitious then, but to study to get a husband, not to be
yeah,
independent.
because again, if
Wow,
you
that's so
married, you're not
interesting.
allowed to work unless it's the family required you're earning.
Okay. So were there different cultures,
Yeah,
different countries there, but all had the same mindset?
similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
so
again, each
interesting.
household is different how you brought up.
Yeah.
So at that time, the women, even if you have the PhD, you will get a doctor husband. So means you're going
Wow.
to
So
go to the better.
you get educated to attract a different quality husband. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that.
So that was the type of thing was going at during my time.
Mm.
But as I said, different household. I'm talking
Yeah.
about that only one type of people, and there are a lot of people who probably at the didn't bother to get married. So that's a different
Mm,
topic.
mm,
But
mm.
majority of those girls of my age during that time was that. But I was kind of ambitious from very early age, so I wanted to become a journalist, and I started working, and but that didn't inspire many people at that time, because
Mm.
their ambition was to get a husband, good husband, to get married within a year, or at that certain year,
Mm-hmm.
to good household. The husband can look after them. So
But
that,
you were just different from very young then. You
yeah,
thought
very early,
differently,
very
yeah. So
early.
when you went from the what is it called, refugee home? What's it called?
Refuge,
Re-
women refuge, it's
Women
called. Yeah.
refuge. When you went from there to work, did you go back into journalism, or what work did you go
No,
into?
since I came into this country, I didn't go back to the journalism, because that's required very ad hoc hours and things. And I had a
Mm-hmm.
very young child.
Okay.
So, and I didn't know the environment over there as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to general work. I worked in the retail, and then teaching ESOL and those things. And then I started working at the Job Center Plus,
Okay.
because I was helping my ex-husband so much finding work that I become expert in doing job
Is
search.
that the husband,
Ex-husband.
the ex-husband that you were in an abusive relationship with?
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
helping him.
yeah.
Why were you helping him?
Because we were married at that time to find a better job.
Oh
And
dear.
And I love those applications, writing and things, because
Really?
we never had it in India.
Yes.
You do send CVs, but over here they talk about the circumstance that if you have a customer, abusive customer, or this customer, how do you deal with them? So the application part, I was really enjoying it, and I filled so
Mm-mm.
many. And then I got because of that experience, I got a job in Job Center Plus, where people comes to seek jobs. So that was my part-time job.
Okay.
And then because I was a history graduate, so I got a job in the museum as well.
So how did you go from there to your business?
So I worked then in the employment training field a long 28 years, or no, not 28 years, 25 years. So I was
Long
helping
time.
the general populations to find employment. And I strongly believe that everyone should be working in the
Mm.
sense. I was so surprised of the state benefit in this country. It is very good idea
Mm.
when you don't have anything to fall, and that will save you, but become dependent on benefit
It can
for
be a
longer
bad
time,
idea
it's a
too,
bad
can't it?
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was helping the general community people through the Job Center Plus, then housing associations, charity organization, etc. Then I still didn't feel that I am creating the jobs. I want to go in the field where I create the job for them. So I saw a job in NHS, where NHS was holding those jobs for the people. So that was the platform. I loved it because then I had that power to help those community people to work for NHS.
Mm.
So I applied the job, I got it. And because I was so expert in that, finding jobs, going to the interview was kind of my passion become. So even if I'm not applying for the job, I will go to the interviews
Really?
because I love that part. Going to the interview and understanding
Most
things and
people
verify.
don't like
No, no.
interviews. Again, unusual. You just unusual way of
I like that
thinking.
challenging part that,
Ah, gosh,
and
that's interesting.
so that helped me to teach other people as well to how to perform in the interview, how to
Yes.
read the interviewer's mind as well, etc. So NHS is the only job I stayed long.
Mm.
Usually I stay in the job for 3 years, not more than 3 years. So I was jumping one job to another job to higher salary so that I can look after my son properly. So, and then NHS gave me the power to create the job. So we worked with the local colleges and charity organizations, etc. We trained the local colleges to how to do the customized training for NHS, and then we recruited people for the NHS jobs, which is the parts help
So
NHS.
we is that your business?
Business
So
means
you,
NHS. I'm talking about my
so when you
team.
worked, you're still
Worked as
employed.
a
You haven't
paid
started your
employed. Yeah,
business yet.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So during that employment, I found that a lot of women comes for healthcare assistant jobs because they think they are a very caring person. They
Mm.
can get a job within that. So then I realized they had very low skills, so and no qualifications. So they wanted to work for NHS because they think the domiciliary care type of jobs, which is doesn't require quite qualifications, higher
Yes, yes,
qualifications.
yes.
But NHS is a clinical setting, so you need a qualifications, you need a training, you need to have a better understanding
Mm-mm.
the job role. And these are the larger, we saw large number of people who couldn't get into those vacancies. So we worked with another funding to figure out what they can do, which is through different project on healthy eating kind of things.
Mm.
And they were quite interested in the cooking side of this, but they want a job.
Mm.
So then we asked that, okay, how we can help you then, and look at your experience and skills. So they all came up. I mean, 84% people came up with what skills they have got is cooking.
84 people had
80,
all said
84%
cooking.
says that women, that
Wow.
group of women, that we are skilled in cooking. And if you want to utilize immediately within a year, then we can utilize that skills. Otherwise, we have to go to the college to get gain skills, which will again 2 to 3 years. They have to
Mm-hmm. And they need to earn
some
money now, not two
money
to
now,
three
yeah.
years. Yeah.
And so then with one of my colleague, we said, why don't we set up a company to help these women with changing their kind of transforming their home skills cooking to professional cooking and help them to find set up a little businesses for them.
Mm.
So then we started the training. We tried to help them to set up their own businesses. Then few women were still far behind to setting up a business. So then we started our own catering business so that we can employ these women and
Oh,
then
that's
slowly help them
amazing.
to set up their own
So when you
businesses.
say we, who's involved in we at this
I
point?
was with my one of my friend. We started, and then I mean they have left the organizations just after the COVID due to
Mm.
various reason. COVID was one of the reason. At that time was we had to do too much work, and they couldn't keep up with their part-time work to
Mm.
invest in business. I took a career gap to focus on 100% on my business. So I went for 5 years career um, gap, and then I left it after 2 years, the whole job, because I wanted to give that. I don't want to hold back my job.
Yeah.
So during the COVID, they needed more people. So I said, okay, I'm going to completely go off from the job.
So you went full time into
Full,
your business.
yeah, spending the full time in the business, because during the COVID time we did a lot of online things. Then we did the food delivery service, so it's
That
needed
must
a
have been
lot of
very popular.
yeah.
Yeah.
At that time,
So
yeah.
it was, did you start the business by yourself or with your friend?
With my friend,
With
we
your
did
friend.
that. Yeah.
And how did the business name come about?
So it came from we were brainstorming with different ideas and things. Then um, I come from the public health team where we were more focused on NHS job, focus on staff well-being as well as the public well-being. So what we found during that time, the clinical staff worked very unsocial hours, and they were not focusing on the good food. And due to that reasons, they had a lot of health issues because they work 12-hour shift. So we thought that we can do a business where we can help those clinical staff member with the supplying food. This is before COVID. And so the TiffinWalli idea came for that. We will supply, its concept came from Bombay, or it's called Mumbai now. Dabba wala. Dabba means tiffin in Hindi. And they supply food service from home. The wife cooks and they take in the tiffins and they deliver it to the husband who is working in office.
Ah, so the tiffin is the container.
Container.
Okay.
So it's is a 3 or 4 floor container tiffin box. So we thought that we will be starting that concept to help those clinical worker working longer hour with the healthier food.
Yeah.
So they don't have to eat from the takeaways, etc. But then the COVID came and we started the service, home delivery service for the elderly people who cannot go out and buy food. So we started that. So concept of supplying food to NHS staff members kind of is dead. And we focused on supplying food to the home. But then we stopped that one. We focused on the catering side because catering was initially as well. Our first order came from my boss.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So we started the catering business, which is more B2B rather than being general
Okay.
social events.
Yeah.
So that way, and we started employing a lot of women to work for us, and we help them to do their little supplying food, because catering is that only we when we get order we can have them rather than being employing them for full time.
Yes. Yes.
It was more
So they're all self-employed.
self-employed.
Yeah.
Yeah. They liked the ideas because they wanted the flexible hours as well, because they have got the
Yes.
younger kids to look after, husband to look after.
Yeah. They've got to juggle. And do they cook in their homes?
They come to cook us with us, and some of the things they cook at home.
Okay.
Anything which is required to be frozen, they cook at home.
Okay.
And anything which will be cooked on the day, they come and cook with us.
Okay.
So we hire dark kitchen whenever we get a catering order. We started from home business, and then if it's bigger order, we hire a dark kitchen, and we cook, and they come and cook from there.
Wow,
So we
that's
have
amazing.
got few girls who is doing freelancing. So if somebody is not available because child is not well or something, somebody else will come. So it's quite flexible. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, we have got our own staff member, freelance
Yes,
staff member
yes,
groups.
yes.
So
That's
that way,
amazing business
so
model. So it's nice for women who don't want to be have set hours. They don't want to be stuck full
yeah,
time. They just want to be flexible. That's really nice as
yeah.
well. So what's your dream for the business? You've done an amazing thing. What's the big dream? Where do you want to take it?
So I was more focusing on helping them. So
Mm.
more focusing on the impact of the business on them. So I didn't had any um, uh, a larger dream what the organizations will be. But while we were doing, because we asked women to provide their specialized menu to us, or we help them to become a specialized in certain food,
Mm.
so that they are in charge of that. And certain food came from them, and I said, okay, you will be in charge. We will put it into the menu. So similarly, one of the girl did who was volunteering with us, and she had a young baby, and she was going through the postnatal depression. And we said, why don't you volunteer with us? And I have gone through all these things, so I was able
Yes.
to tell her that this is the way I have overcome. You have to engage into something to overcome your postnatal depressions.
Yeah.
So she engaged with us in volunteering, and most of the thing was online at the time we were doing. And then she came up with her menu, said, okay, this is yogurt, do you want to try that? Because we didn't had any dessert menu in our menu.
Mm.
So she came up with that idea, and I loved her yogurt so much. I said immediately, I want to take this yogurt to the mass populations, the people to have test your own yogurt.
Yeah.
I think this is brilliant yogurt. It's only that because it's a very traditional, we have to make it more cater for more mainstream market.
Mm.
So why don't you work? And exactly, I was asking to do it, the textures and things change. So you work on that from home. You don't have to come to
Mm.
our place and create the textures. And I will test it, and we will test it with the public. And this, she did. She did several times. So whole 1 year we did tested the yogurt to bring it to in certain level so that we can take it to the market.
Yeah.
And we ran several events to do the testing,
Yeah.
and eventually we were happy with the product. And then we took it to one of the event where one of the funder was there, and they tested, they liked it so much, asked us to apply for funding for capital cost.
Oh wow.
So we applied, and we got the capital cost to buy a machine to generate the yogurt, to create the yogurt and design the yogurt pots and things. And now my focus in that how we can make bring that product to the market.
Mm.
So this year, last year we launched it. This year we went to more Asian, South Asian shops, and it was taken by them. So we are supplying few shops
What's it
on
called?
that. It's called Doiee. Doiee means yogurt in Bengali. It's called Doiee, and this yogurt is inspired from Bangladeshi yogurt.
Okay.
And so we got the trademark of that name called Doiee.
Brilliant.
So we're
Brilliant.
calling Doiee as a yogurt. So we wanted people to know that word Doiee,
Yes.
uh, like Hoover. Hoover is a
Y-
company name. So
yes.
similarly, we try to create that. So people will know that Doiee means yogurt.
That's amazing.
So
So you've gone from being in women's refuge, £25 a week, to building your own company. Now you're helping other women as
to
well. That's
exactly.
incredible story.
Oh,
Wow.
thanks. So this yogurt project will create more job vacancy. That's the whole purpose again. So
Creating
if we
jobs,
if
yeah.
we have the factory, then it's created. So we could take that to the manufacturer and manufacturing it directly,
Mm.
but then it wouldn't create the
Yes.
employment opportunities for these women.
Mm-mm.
So as an organization, we wanted to be more self-sufficient, financially self-sufficient, rather than depending on grant. Because as a CIC company, we can have grant as well.
Yes.
And grant, we are applying for the training side, but for the to generate income to make the organization or enterprise self-sufficient, even if we have the yogurt product and the
Mm.
catering. So
Mm-mm.
income generating through two different stream, and training is through funding. And we have
Okay.
got third one is called healthy eating. I personally think that East London, which is diverse range of people lives, are not in good health. So how
Yeah.
we can promote more healthier eating? We are not asking to eat them the salad and things because they're not going to do it.
Yeah. Has to be
So
culturally relevant, doesn't
culture,
it? Can't be something foreign to them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can have that as a side, but you cannot have your meal as a whole pot of salad.
Yeah.
Even if you introduce, they will attend that program, but will be back to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
same. So what we did is that how you can change your cultural food, how you can change and make it little bit changes in the cultural food to make it more healthier,
Mm.
keeping the flavor and the taste same.
Yeah.
So how you can use less oil or alternative oils to do that,
Mm.
how can use less sugar or alternative sweetness, or how you can use the frying thing in baking but
Yeah.
keeping the things all same.
Yeah, it's
So that way
amazing.
we encouraging people to make it more healthier, and we are training those community women to be a champion and take it train the other women or their friends and family, encourage
Yeah.
them.
Wow,
So
that's so good.
yeah. So that's the three stream Tiffin Valley is
Yeah.
doing, but all empowering the women in that sense.
Yeah,
So
that's true empowerment, giving the women their independence back, giving them their freedom. So what one piece of advice would you give a woman who is in a similar situation where you were in the refuge, women's refuge, or similar? It doesn't have to be in a refuge,
yeah.
in an abusive relationship, or in any sort of circumstances where they've lost control.
Mhm.
What advice would you give that woman?
So in the abusive relation is very complicated part, because I have a few friends who were in the abusive relationship at that time. After 10 years, 20 years, they are in the same situation.
Mm.
So that's a very complicated area because you are emotionally tangled with that person, with their family so much, and you being brought up in such a way that even if you wanted to empower them, they can't see that.
Mm.
So I strongly believe if you, I help women who really wanted to do something. You cannot pull someone from the bottom to the top.
Mm.
They have to come halfway through.
Mm. Mm.
Only then you
Wow,
can
that's
help them
powerful.
with that.
Yeah.
If you don't come halfway through, no way you can pull them from the bottom.
Wow, that's so
Say,
true. So they have to have a little bit of their own desire and they
desire.
have to do a little bit of work themselves.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's important, isn't
And
it? Because you can't do it for everyone. You
no,
can't
no,
do it for
no.
anyone.
And you cannot. I've seen with the mainstream or women or anyone in the job as well. I keep telling people if you don't do for yourself, nobody will give you the job. Why
Yeah,
should somebody will give you the job when you are not going to? And why should I spend my time to give you a job when you yourself is not trying?
yeah.
So you're not going to last for 3 months even. And most people used to lose jobs within the 3 months because they don't have that attitude.
Yeah, I learned a principle. It's similar. I was in a similar situation, helping people, but always doing too much, and they weren't doing their part.
Exactly.
And someone said, "Don't work harder for them than they're willing to work for themselves." I was like, "Wow, that's powerful." Because if you want to help people, you want them to be better. If they don't want to be better, there's nothing you can do.
Nothing.
And
Okay.
if they're not willing to do their part, there's nothing you can do. Wow. Sangeeta, we're out of time. I can tell that we can, we have so much more to talk about. And I say this with all of our interviews because you women are amazing. You're phenomenal. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of the links to what you're doing, your LinkedIn, wherever we can find you. We'll pop that into the podcast description when we share it. And we'll just encourage people to find you and just keep getting to know you and your incredible story. So
Thanks
thanks.
very much. And I'm happy to help anyone if they are living in East London or even online if they wanted to get help, any kind of things. I really want the women to help other women as well, which
Yes.
we don't do much.
Mm.
So I'm quite happy to do that because I haven't got that one in my life.
Mm.
So I'm very much open to help anyone with any advice or any kind of
That's
support they
incredible.
needed. Yeah.
Gosh, so we wish you every success with what you're doing. I know that you're going to change the world. You're going to change London, but you're going to change the world.
Thanks very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you
And so
so
you are
much.
doing, Angela, it's very, very nice work you
We'll
are
do it
doing to
together.
bring it. Yes.
All right, Sangeeta. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I really appreciate you coming
Thanks
on our
for giving me
podcast.
this opportunity.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.